back to back news from Iran, one good and one bad. The good news was that India and Iran concluded the deal for Chabahar. It was a agreement for 10 years where India will be operating the Shahid Beheshti terminal. And of course, the deal is going to improve India's relations with this very significant country of West Asia. Now, the bad news is the sudden demise of Iran's president, Ibrahim Raisi, and India's foreign minister, as well as prime minister, has extended the condolences and has shown that we stand with the people of Iran at this hour. Now, what we have to know about these events in the coming days, I feel there will be lot of articles on Iran. They are already coming. Iran has already occupied lot of space in the public discourse, especially since 7th October, the incident of Hamas, after which the Red Sea related to the attacks by Houthis. And now, hopefully, this video will help you to make sense of the events and the articles which are going to come. Let us first talk about why Iran matters to India and the world. Why we should be talking about Iran, and even like why am I making a video on Iran? Had it been a sudden demise or demise of the president of some other country, which may not be holding such an important place in the global geopolitics, perhaps even I may not have been making a video. But as far as India is concerned, Iran matters. Why Iran matters? See, if we go to pre 1947, Iran has been our next door neighbor. No other country has such a cultural and civilizational influence on India the way Iran has. And of course, Iran matters to India for so many reasons. First of all, for India's energy security, but Iran's importance for India goes much beyond Iran's status as a gas station. Do you know why? Because Iran is one of the most important country in the geopolitical chessboard of the most sensitive region of world politics, that is West Asia, and which comes in India's extended neighborhood. So, why should we talk about Iran? Why should we make efforts to understand Iran? Is more about geopolitics. First of all, if you see the map, see Iran's central location. Iran is a corridor. You must have heard about International North South Transport Corridor. So, Iran connects West Asia, Central Asia, and if you go via Azerbaijan, it again connects with Russia. So, understand the politics today is around the trade routes and the energy routes. Iran, being a source of energy, is also at the crossroads of the global trade routes. Now, talking about geopolitics, if I refer Robert D. Kaplan, what he writes that Iran is the first superpower in the world. Iran's empire was quite extended, a powerful country, and if we talk about the Muslim world, obviously technologically most advanced country, and in the times which we are witnessing, Iran has emerged as a regional hegemon. There is no other country in West Asia which has ability to challenge the West to the extent which Iran has done. And of course, the departed president, Ibrahim Raisi, has played a very significant role in developing Iran's axis of resistance against the West. The three H, Hamas, Houthis, and Hezbollahs, they formed Iran's axis of resistance. Iran's axis of resistance has been the symbol of the colonial world challenging the Western hegemony. We can always debate on Iran's role, but there is a point which Iran was making, that is the rejection of the Western hegemony in the post colonial societies. Now, the contemporary history of relevance for us begins in 1979 when Iran has witnessed the Islamic Revolution. Islamic Revolution led to the adoption of the new constitution rather than the earlier constitution, which was a monarchy led by the US supported King Reza Shah Pahlavi. So in 1979 emerged the Islamic State of Iran, and Iran came to acquire a constitution with some of very unique features. First and foremost, the most important institution in Iran's political system, which all of you should see, is the position of the supreme leader, also known as Velayat al Faqih, means the ultimate and the just jurist. The supreme leader has a very special position in the Shiite Islam, of which Iran is the first and foremost country. The supreme leader holds exceptional powers and the center of gravity. Now, there is also a political system, and president is the head of Iran's political system. Iran has directly elected president, and that is why president has the real decision making power, unlike India, where president is the nominal head. So Iran's president matters because he is directly elected by the people. Now, let us talk about Ibrahim Raisi. Before Ibrahim Raisi, Iran's president was Hassan Rouhani. The domestic politics of Iran reflects two types of strands. One, which can be considered as extreme right, and the second, which can be considered as the moderate right, or in comparative terms with reference to Iran as slightly liberal. So Hassan Rouhani was more a liberal, and Hassan Rouhani was a person during which Iran was able to strike a deal with USA, known as USA as well as the other major power known as JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive agreement related to Iran's nuclear program. Ibrahim Raisi represent the hardliners who have a strong determination for no compromise with Iran, as well as a strong motivation to very decisively establish Iran as the leader of West Asia and the Muslim world. Under the leadership of Ibrahim Raisi, Iran has scaled the new heights. That is what I have mentioned, that Iran has given very tough fight to Israel and the West since the crisis of Gaza began. This shows his leadership and his strong position in Iran's political system. It is believed that Iran's political system has the ultimate power with the supreme leader, but president matters. And Ibrahim Raisi is supposed to be a close associate of the present supreme leader, that is Ayatollah al Khamenei at present. It means his position was very powerful. It's a different matter that his election was a contested election because West never recognized the fairness of the elections in Iran. He came to power with the support of 62% of the votes. But we also have to know that at that point of time, not more than 48 to 49% of the electors have voted. If his foreign policy gives a very strong picture of Iran emerging as the superpower in the region, reclaiming its old position, it is not without controversies. There has been a concern because of US and Iran's confrontation, Iran's economy under constant tensions, sanctions, and that is why what we see that Iranians have to place and they have to face the lot of crisis in concern of livelihood. But what has brought the world attention towards Iran in recent time is the strict enforcement of the Islamic code with respect to the woman. A very unfortunate event has been the death of one of a very young activist or a young woman, Mahasa Amini, who was killed under the suspicious circumstances on the issue of hijab. Fine. So it's not that his leadership was uncontested because only 48.8% people participated in the elections. Every section in Iran does not fully agree with his foreign policy towards the West because it creates a pressure of livelihood and, above all, the increasing totalitarianism of the regime in the quest to have a contestation with the West. In a way, we can say that if we have to see the example of the clash of civilizations, the most importantly, this idea of Samuel P. Huntington fits most for Iran's clash with USA. So this is a little bit of the background. At the same time, you should also know that Iran, if it has a one center of power, that is a supreme leader and the president, Iran also has another very powerful institution known as the Revolutionary Guards. USA has banned Iran's Revolutionary Guard, which is an instrument of the state as a terrorist organization. So, this is also very surprisingly when a armed, or you can say when a institutionalized structure of any state has been declared as a terrorist organization. So Iran has two types of militaries. One, the normal military, which is meant for the protection of Iran's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and Iran's Revolutionary Guard. They are meant to protect the integrity of Iran's Islamic empire. And USA has a special concern with respect to this institution because it is the protector of Iran's Islamic regime and which USA wants to collapse. Now, the first question is whether Ibrahim Raisi's sudden demise is going to bring any fundamental change in Iran's relationship with Israel or West, that is USA. According to me, no. The reason is the real center of power remains intact. The real center of power is, of course, the supreme leader and Iran's Revolutionary Guard. So I do not expect any big change. Even if we go by the wisdom of the theory of international politics, as discussed by Kenneth Waltz and Mearsheimer, the most well known realists, actors do not make much difference because the structures constrain the choices of the foreign policies, and hence, normally, we observe the continuity. So long Iran's basic structure of the Islamic state and the supreme leader remains intact, I don't think there is going to be a big difference. Now, the next question is, will it make an impact on India Iran relations? The answer remains the same because foreign policies of the countries, they are always based on long term interest. It is true that the leadership matters. It is also true that one person is indispensable, I strongly believe, because every person has its aura, his ideology, and they cannot easily be replaced. But still, there are obvious limitations on the choices of the foreign policy makers. And so let us not expect any big change happening. Any change can happen only when there is a systemic change in Iran. There is a fundamental change in the political system of Iran, and regarding which I have already told. And in order to understand Iran's foreign policy, Iran's relations with the West, you should always look into the domestic political system of Iran. Now, for India, Iran is very important. Leave Iran's energy and economy. We need Iran because Iran is our gateway to Afghanistan. And you all understand how important is Afghanistan for India's security. So Afghanistan is a place where India has to be at any cost, be it for connectivity with Central Asia or to maintain pressure on Pakistan. So I believe this brief overview of the recent development will give you some insights to understand the complexities of the articles which are going to come in the newspapers, and any person, if lacks a necessary backgrounder, may find himself puzzled and the articles may not make sense. So remember, first of all, foreign policies are always based on long term interest, hence, they reflect the continuity. But it does not mean that persons do not matter. Another point is any fundamental change, no, until and unless the domestic political system of Iran changes. The domestic political system of Iran, center of gravity, is in the supreme leader. Iran matters to India a lot because for India, Afghanistan is critical to India's security. Thank you.